Hi, this is a pick a card reading for September 2020. So you can pick pile 1, 2, or 3. I'll timestamp them in the description. Sorry. Okay, let's start with pile number 1. This is what to expect for September 2020. So let's find out. So for your oracle cards, we have the Observer and Go the Distance. Okay. Let me just get some. Okay. Very similar to 2 seconds here. Okay. So if you chose pile number 1, the overall sort of energy for this is that you're feeling a lot of anxiety and you're feeling easily triggered, and you're sort of feeling a lot of different feelings that you don't normally feel, um, in your everyday life. And obviously there's a lot going on right now, so that makes sense. But I think particularly you have a lot of stuff going on in your life right now that's extra difficult. And I think they're sort of encouraging you to really look or observe your own life and your own behaviors, and to internally sort of take stock of how certain life situations make you feel specifically, or what's triggering you specifically. And the challenge here is to say no. You have to say no a lot more because you've just got too much on your plate right now. And you're trying to help a lot of people and you're forgetting yourself. And I'm not just talking about self-care. I'm talking about actual time spent with yourself in order to just take a moment and breathe and sit in the present moment and try and determine if you're okay with the way things are in your life right now. Are you okay with what time you have dinner? Are you okay with maybe going back to work? Maybe your kids are going back to school or you have to go back to work, and just sort of sit with those feelings, because you need to make a lot of changes, or there's a lot of change coming up in your life in September, and like a lot of transformation and change. And it comes from you realizing that it's not beneficial to your life. I could be talking about something as simple as, so for example, this is something I've started doing, once I hit over 40, is that I do this thing where I be nice to my future self. So when I go to bed at night and I leave the kitchen a mess from dinner the night before, and maybe I've done some dishes really sloppy or whatever, I wake up in the morning and I am grouchy going into a messy kitchen. So I clean my kitchen before I go to bed. I make sure it's nice and clean. I put the tea out for the morning. I put the breakfast stuff out if that's what, if it's non-perishable. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So I think when I say that there's a lot of change required in your life, it could literally be tiny little habits, but they add up and they're making you feel negative outwardly to other people. Okay. So there's definitely a challenge here of silence. So don't respond to the drama. Don't respond to needy friends right away. Um, don't even apologize for not responding or not um, contributing to something in some way. Don't even apologize about that. This is something you need for your mental health and for your spirit, for your inner spirit. It's like an emptiness inside and you need to fill your cup again. It's just that simple. Okay. And I think too that there's definitely a need to like balance a budget, or you could be feeling that your budget is becoming a lot more manageable in September. Um, I'm it doesn't specify why. Let's try and find out why. You know what, I think it's probably related to the habits that you have to change, right? So let's say you're going out for lunch every day because it's easy and it's convenient, but it's making you feel sick. So, you kind of need to change that. But the money, oops. Yeah, it's just, how do I explain that? Can you give me one more just to help me explain that? Something just, okay, when you take this time to yourself and you sort of calm or slow down your life a bit, you sort of, it's just becomes very clear to you what needs to change specifically, and that you can even have the freedom to experiment with what needs to change. So if you want to quit smoking, then quit smoking. But if you find it's bringing more stress into your life than you can handle right now, that's okay. You can, you know, you can manage another way. You can cut down. You can, there's plenty, you can get a nicotine replacement. There's tons of ways for you to deal with it. You can change your mind. But there's really sort of empowerment in trying new things that you think might benefit your daily life, or at least your attitude and your spirit, right? And once you change these things, you're like, oh yeah, bye. You're not, I'm not going back that old way. No way. No way. Okay. What can I leave you with here? Pile number one. What can I leave you with? Yes. Okay, awesome. So listen, there might be some people that have a problem with you taking time for yourself and changing habits that might involve them. I'm going to encourage you again to be quiet. Don't respond. You don't owe, unless it's like your spouse, you don't owe anyone any explanation for why you're making changes in your life. And I think it might bring you a little bit of anxiety, or at least make you defensive. Um, but you'll find that if you explain it, once you do eventually explain to close friends and stuff why you haven't responded, then you can say in a very positive manner, look, I really needed this for my mental health, and they'll understand. But I think you've just been giving so much that people are now starting to expect it. So if that's close friends, don't hate them for it. It's just because that's what you've been offering up. Okay? Awesome. Okay, pile number one, have a great September. Okay, let's go with pile number two. If you picked pile number two. So, overall energies. Okay. Ooh. Wow. The double twice. Interesting. Let's get a clarifier, please. So, this is a very passionate storyline here. Life situation for September. What to expect in September? Expect a lot of creative energies. Or let me rephrase that. A lot of opportunities where you're going to want to express yourself. So sometimes for some people that's art. I always use that example because that's me. And other people, it might be expressing feelings, expressing love, those kind of things. Yes. Okay. So we have the devil card twice here, and I'm getting that it's not the shadow side of the devil, and that the devil has this positive side of like, whoa, crazy electric passion. And I also have the Lover's card here. So I'm thinking that what I'm reading right here is that somebody is going to make a proclamation of love or an offer of love, or maybe lust. And maybe here the lesson is for you to determine which is which. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, I'm getting so much already. Talking here is very important, asking questions. And if you have confidence issues around this, or if somebody makes you uncomfortable or nervous to speak to them or ask them difficult questions like, um, do you have feelings for me? Those kind of things, that you need to move past the anxiety that you get or the nerves, and you really need to stand confidently and ask these questions out loud, sometimes repeatedly, until you get an answer. Just because some people some people feel a bit fussy when they're talking about feelings, and it's um, difficult to express. But for you, it's not difficult to express. And so when you verbalize, when you literally ask your question or say how you feel, it's very clear, and it doesn't usually need repeating unless the other person has trouble interpreting it, as far as like emotional expression, I mean. Okay, I do definitely get that feeling that this other person, even while they have strong feelings for you, they have a lot of difficulty expressing those feelings. And so for them, the talking part might look like a regular conversation. Like, hey, you want to hang out Saturday? Yeah. Do you want to go to my sister's wedding in August? Yeah, sure. It's just a regular conversation, but they're really trying to tell you that they plan to keep you around, or you know how it is. Some people just really have a hard time talking about their feelings or expressing them. So you might have to ask this person specifically, hey, what do you mean by that? You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. There's this feeling of complete emotional, passionate surrender. And it's it's so hard to describe this energy because it's wild. Um, but it is that sort of soulmate. Um, this is fated. This is a soulmate coming in. This is someone who is really gonna love you, even if it appears they're only lusting for you. And I think that's why you gotta have to ask the questions, because in some scenarios there probably is somebody who's just using you, and hopefully you can determine that this that's not what I'm talking about here. But for some people, that's what they're presented with. That's a lesson they're presented with, right? But this looks like the real deal. It's just confusing because one of you or both of you haven't felt this way before, and you haven't received um, I felt this kind of energy, specifically this energy, because I'm having a really hard time putting it into words. So I'm going to use more cards to help me. You might actually reject an offer not knowing that it's a true offer, because this person has such a difficult time expressing it. Okay. Like, I literally picture someone doing interpretive dance to tell you how they love you, because they can't. They can't tell you. They don't know how to tell you. Or they might do something really, really sweet, that's little, that you don't even that you would just think, oh, that's really nice, but they're trying to tell you that they have feelings for you. So you need to pay attention. I think that's what yes, pay attention. And you also need to manifest the outcome a little bit here. You need to tweak that a little bit. So we just had the full moon. You can go off that energy. And what do I mean by manifest? It's you're literally going to create the end scenario by how you react. So make sure you're square with yourself before you go into this. I'm sure you are. Just have a little sit down with yourself and feel anything that's coming up. And if you think you know who this person is, feel anything that's coming up and write it down, because you're going to want to communicate it. Okay. So the call to action here, and the thing that's going to make the most impact in September, is communicating on your part, asking questions, asking for clarification, and listening, of course, as well, or trying to just pay attention, be aware of what someone else's actions might mean. Okay. All right. Group number 2, that was you. Going to move on to group number 3 now. Have a great September, guys. Okay, group number 3. So let's pull the cards here. Let's just lay your pile out here. Yeah. Okay, this is actually a really interesting pile. This, I think, is more about, this overall energy is more about, excuse me. It's more about following your path, doing something that makes you feel really good inside, or that's really rewarding. And for some of you, this is going to manifest as a relationship or somebody coming into your life that's going to offer your life deep meaning, or at least push you in a direction of deep meaning and deep knowing. That's literally the oracle card I got for you here. Okay. So I think you probably already know what I'm talking about, that you have this sort of idea of a job, or moving to a certain place. There's just something that you think is sort of your life mission. And you're like, no, it couldn't possibly be. I have to work. I have to have a job. I need to follow my dreams, and I need to put my dreams on the back burner, and I need to do what's right and earn a paycheck. And I think the call is just going to get too loud here. And you're going to have to really push yourself to go in the direction of your life's mission, or your life's work, your life's path, whatever you want to call that. I'm going to say deep knowing again, because I'm pretty sure that you know what this is. You just don't know how. The how is what you don't know. And that's okay. So God's going to call you, and he's going to tell you exactly what to do. No, you're just going to feel this pull or this draw towards doing something that's more important than what you're doing right now, and more meaningful than what you're doing right now. And if you can't put your whole heart and your whole life into it, that's okay. Do something towards it. You want to start a YouTube channel, then you have to make a video. If you want to be an artist, then you have to create the art. So just any small action towards that. If you want to travel the globe, then you have to start saving some money towards that, and planning towards that, getting excited about what that could look like. the planning part, I think, is really important for all of it as well. So start writing some lists about action you can take towards this, because the benefits are crazy good. And it's almost like, it almost becomes like a catapult, just taking small little actions. And you notice, what's the word I'm looking for? You notice that the rewards start coming in, or you notice little changes in your life that are out of your control that sort of push you in the direction of this path. Okay. So can you give the outcome, please? What's the outcome? Yeah. I would say major change in your life and going in a positive direction, but it might seem quite sudden. There's a lot of like, I don't normally get this in my reading, but there's a lot of like philosophy, energy in it. And I think that comes in the planning. You need like a mission statement, or you need like a manifesto, or just a list of principles on how you're going to live your life, or how you're going to work towards this path. Okay. And so for that, you're going to require a little bit of like self philosophy. And there's definitely an energy of you're not going to be able to delay it or procrastinate it anymore. It's going to somehow present itself in your life in a way that you can't ignore it anymore. Okay, it's kind of beautiful. Yes, you notice financial benefits right away from starting this. When I say right away, let's say the next six months, 6 weeks to 6 months. Okay. Yeah. And it puts you with enough. It improves your financial situation enough that you don't feel like you have to budget everything, that you have enough in your wallet for everything, plus some, right? If you want to go and buy this or that, because you have a little bit extra, you can. Yeah. And then I'm getting a bunch of fate cards. So this is obviously like fated, as in this is all meant to happen. This is all supposed to happen. So don't ignore it. Okay. Just one more card here for outcome. You have a lot of major arcana cards, which tells me this is a seriously important time in your life. And if you look a little closer and things feel a little, you feel a lot of despair right now, then I think you need to look to this big, huge change and how you can implement it, or how you can today, this month, create a path for it in your life. Okay. All right. Thanks, pile number 3. Have a great September. Bye.